Hello.
Mr. Reiser, how are you?
How are you, sir?
I'm a fan.
Thank you.
I'm mad about you, sir.
How are you?
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Tell me tell us where you're all from. Who are you all?
I am Tim Gordon from Film Gordon Radio, but I'm representing PBS here today. So.
Okay, PBS, be smart.
I'm Meredith Alloway from thescriptlab.com.
From which one?
Thescriptlab.com.
Okay, also be smart.
I'm Calvin Lizardi from Milk Studios.
Be as smart as you want. You don't have to knock yourself out.
I'm Catherine Monk with the National Post in Canada.
Oh, Canada.
Canada.
Okay.
I'm Silvia Bizzo with La Repubblica of Italy.
Ah, so we'll speak slowly.
And I'm Travis Hopson, Punch Critics, and also PBS. We're on the same show. So.
All right, guys, I will lead off. I thought the movie was absolutely amazing. I love the intensity between your character and Fletcher, played by J.K. Simmons. I understand it was a short. I didn't see the short last year.
Up until about 2 weeks ago.
Well, how do you guys think you did as it relates to capturing the tension between those two characters? I personally thought you guys did a great job, but I want to get your perspective on it.
Yeah, I mean, when I was shooting it, it's always interesting when you see a film for the first time, because for me as an actor, I can only see things through my own eyes. So really, a lot of that tension is created from the shots and how the shots flow back and forth. And Damian used a lot of close-ups, and he could talk to you about it. I thought our DP Sharon was really incredible. I thought Tom Cross, our editor, did an incredible job. And then J.K. Simmons is just really a phenomenal actor. And so a lot of those moments of tension, I felt pretty scared. On the day, I remember filming some of those scenes and just really, feeling the heat and feeling it from J.K.
Would he break between takes and stuff? Would he be like a nice
guy?
Oh,
for sure. I wouldn't have been able to. If he was like that all the time,
between
I was wondering about that.
I'd have been absolutely. If he was like that all the time, and I had to be in this kind of shell and absorb it, and not really get to release it all the time, I'd have been miserable.
I remember reading Robert Duvall when he did Great Santini.
Yeah.
You ever see it?
No.
But similar type of thing by his dad. And Michael O'Keefe. And he said, day one, he went over and said, hello, and then basically, just so you know, that's the last time with any nice.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm a nice guy, but...
There are a lot of actors like that.
So I'm curious, guys. So this is based in the music industry, and I love the blood, sweat, and tears, like you guys were saying at the Q&A. So in what ways do you experience that in the film industry? Like, how did you see the two parallels?
I mean, I was a drummer myself, and so a lot of the story was autobiographical, but I've sort of been trying to, doing films for a lot longer than I was trying to do music, but it seemed like almost the same world to me. It seemed like, it's 99% rejection and then 1% where you actually break through, but I wanted to make a movie about just how hard it is to rise, to actually achieve something, because I think there's a lot of music movies about people who are fully formed, who kind of come out of the shell already, Mozart or Charlie Parker. I want to make a movie about how someone who might not seem like a great musician at the beginning can actually hopefully become one.
Part of why the movie is so successful and why audiences are so connected to it is that what's happening is really not specific to music or really even to the arts, because you can think of anybody, a kid comes out of college and gets a job in an office and sucks up to the wrong guy and goes, here's what you got to do. You could see somebody running themselves ragged.
That's sort of the sharks.
Yeah, selling your soul to the wrong person for the wrong reason. So there's not, that's not at all specific to music. Just making the wrong choice with the wrong person that everybody relates to.
I thought there were so many parallels to being an actor, because we're constantly going in for auditions. So it's that judgment, that sense of having to perform at the highest level all the time, and having somebody tell you whether or not you're good at it.
Have you ever cried on your script or sweat on your script?
Sure.
Yeah?
I read my scripts on the beach, so I'm usually sweating fairly often.
Can I get a new script? There's some daiquiri on mine.
Now, I kind of compare the film to a sports movie in a lot of ways, because it is very much like that, especially the physical intensity of it all. How do you all kind of prepare for that? Because you guys, your part as well, you guys have to train and do whatever to make the musical part of the film. How do you guys prepare for that?
My agent lied to me. I told him I could play the drums.
Which I'll never forgive him for.
You're not in the sequel because of that.
Sorry, man. No, Austin busted his ass training, and Miles, even more so. Miles actually is a drummer, but he just had to get to a whole different level of performance.
And and they would spray me to get some sweat and this and that, but for my character, a lot of the time my character is exhausted, so I would play to the point of exhaustion. I mean, you don't have to do this for very long until you feel like your arm is just on fire. But you do a couple takes of that. I remember Damian, like one particular day, just really wanted me to really get into it, and he never yelled cut, and I at one point I just stopped playing because I couldn't play anymore. I said, what are you doing? You got the shot, why didn't you yell cut? He said, I just figured you would stop when you couldn't play anymore. And that was pretty much what it was. So I really wanted to, for me, I'm not a method actor by any means, but I wanted to be, for me, to really sink my teeth into it, I wanted to play to a point of exhaustion. And like a lot of that anger that was coming out, that was just, that was real. Bang a thing long enough and you're not dead, your temper will flare up.
What about practicing? You said you guys practiced it 4 hours?
Yeah, we'd have 4-hour sessions. Damien was giving me lessons, and this other kid, Nate Lang, who plays Carl in the movie, Tanner, the other drummer, the third guy, long hair. He's a really good drummer. And so yeah, we'd meet at this music studio and practice. I had 2 drum kits in my house, one of my own, and then Damien brought over an old one, which I still have. I got to get back to. So
Would you play to tracks or just?
I played the tracks. In the beginning, I'm just practicing, holding the stick traditionally, because I never done that. A lot of double time swing, and I watched a lot of drummers. Like I took stuff from Joe Jones. Joe Jones is like. He's so animated, and this whole thing, and like, I remember that under the arm thing, you see it in the movie, and I remember Bernie did it. I was like, that is so cool. Little tricks that are just...
little things like that sell you as a jazz drummer, that are very different from rock drumming.
You watch the Muppets and animals.
Yeah.
You kind of have an animal sort of
Damian, can you tell us the story of how this short became this film? You were here with the short last year. And then what happened? It attracted the attention. Did you develop it through the Sundance Institute? Did the songs have anything to do with
I first written the script, the feature-length script, and but no one wanted to give me money to do a movie about a jazz drummer. Surprisingly, shockingly. So the idea was to just pull a scene. We basically just took a scene from the script, just shot it with in a couple days with sort of minimal crew. Just show what the movie would be like as a proof of concept. We took that to Sundance, and then we were lucky people liked it, and that helped us set up the feature. So there was never kind of an adaptation process. It was just the short was just a way to convince people to let us do it.
But the short was so good. The first time before I got the script, I got the short, and it was good from the first frame. Literally, I thought, okay, it was just close-ups of the cymbal and the drum. Okay, this is really beautiful. And then it was great and really compelling. And I thought, why is he going to mess around with this? Why is somebody? I thought somebody. I didn't know that it came from the big script. I thought somebody was going to fatten it up. It's beautiful as it is. When you see the whole movie, it's even a whole other beast. But the short was fantastic.
Now, what was it about kind of the swing style of jazz that made you stand for this particular film? Is it a personal preference? Is that your
I love that stuff. I mean, I in high school I was in a sort of jazz ensemble that sort of we just played competitions and jazz festivals, and it was all about Buddy Rich, Art Blakey, Joe Jones, people like that, and that's kind of how. To me, especially if you're gonna play a drum kit, to me that's the highest calling for drumming. It's like there's classical drumming, which is more percussion oriented, it's not really kit, and then there's rock drumming, which can be great, but it's a lot simpler usually. I think when you look at people like Joe Jones, you're looking at literally the greatest drummers who've ever lived. So that to me is the hardest kind of drumming. So that to me is like this movie is a movie about people trying to do the hardest things that are too hard for them to do. Constantly beating against that wall. And I remember myself with charts that were just so hard, just slamming my head against the wall, figuratively, not being able to get it right. I want to make a movie about that.
Now, the idea that the film kind of lays out about there's greatness there, but somebody has to help prod or pull it out of you. From a personal standpoint, is that something in your writing that you were kind of like thinking about something, an experience you've had where someone tried to do that to you?
I had a conductor myself who sort of the character in the movie is inspired by the conductor I had, and so a lot of the stuff was sort of you're rushing, you're dragging, you're rushing, you're dragging. Stuff was verbatim from the stuff I went through.
Did you ever feel he was trying to get you to be great, or was he just?
Oh yeah, no, he was, and I became a much better drummer as a result. But to me, I didn't want to make a movie just about him because he never actually went over into abusiveness. To me, it was like it planted this interesting dilemma in my head of like, what if you had a guy who actually went into abusiveness, went as far as the character in the movie does, but got results? Do the ends justify the means? Like, at what point is it not worth it? Because so I find everything that the guy does in the movie utterly horrifying, but I wanted to kind of make that as horrifying as possible, to make the music as good as possible, and just kind of set that dilemma up.